Hi, Rich Hoffman here. So there's a parallel between the anxieties that the Republican Party has about losing to Democrats and the fear that people have over the rise of Islam and why people would be involved with, attracted to aggressive religion or radical politics. Why does Mamdani have any kind of followers? The lack of understanding of what causes the membership is what is the root cause of anxiety for everybody, and the topic of a lot of conversation right now. Now, and it also goes back to Trump and Trump's poll numbers slipping a bit while everybody waits for the economy to click on, because the policies are well in place that will benefit everybody. But there's a lot of anxiety because he's gone from being Mr. Tough guy getting shot in the head and standing up and poking his fist at the sky to, being a peacemaker and going around shaking hands with everybody and trying to get a Nobel Prize. And that's not exactly the Trump that everybody wanted to vote for. It might be good for the world to have people, a guy like doing that kind of thing, but they want to see people are attracted to violence. They're attracted to aggression. The same could be said about not that men or women are specific, but I think women tend to be the ones that facilitate a relationship that's abusive, because they're the recipients of, in the context of things, they can choose the men more than men can choose the women. So why do women choose to be in abusive relationships? What's the appeal? Why would they want the psychological mechanisms that cause them to be abused in either physical ways or mental ways? So the young people, especially those who would defect and become ISIS members, that would cause a lot of people to soul search. Why would perfectly young people who have all the things they could do in life be attracted to join ISIS and even defect, even if they're not even Muslim? And women, why would they put themselves into that kind of situation? Because there were lots of women who left their families and joined the ISIS movement and to be really abused in ways that we don't make sense to anybody. Because if you can't answer that question, you can't stop it. And in the case of Islam is aggressive. They're very declarative in what their intentions are. They're fine to make peace. If you read the Quran, they preach all kinds of things that sound good, but the overall message is firmness, aggression. And if people don't share the same convictions, they're infidels. And that kind of strict, that kind of aggression is appealing to people who are missing that in their lives. So the same thing with Democrats. Democrats are the ones who are the radicals. They're out there, the ones poking the stick. They're the ones screaming and yelling. And Trump won when he was screaming and yelling louder than they were. And when MAGA was most successful, they're on the attack. But when you get on your back feet and you start responding to everything and you start wanting to shake hands and make peace with people, you're going to lose appeal, because that's not what people are attracted to in any kind of endeavor, whether it's relationships, whether it's politics, whether it's business. The ones that are the consolers are going to not be so. They're going to find their memberships drifting away because it's not very exciting. No one wants to be a part of something that's considered weak. So if Islam establishes itself as the victor who's going to dominate Christianity, even if it means burning down a church in Amsterdam or all over France, or taking over politics in New York and taking over London, they're on the rise because they're out there conquering. And people who are looking for victories are looking to be on the winning team. It's the same thing when your favorite football team is winning. People go out and buy the jerseys. When they lose, they put bags on their head and complain. So you don't want to be the team that people are putting the bags on their head. And the Republican Party has made itself that way because they've had the opportunity to be victorious and they have not seized it. They haven't marketed victory. They've been out there shaking hands and patting people on the back and making peace. And that's not what builds a party. Rebellion, action. What you got to do is you got to align justice with action and then promote it in a way that makes people want to go out and buy the jersey. But if people feel like it's just the same old, and it's boring to shake hands and make peace, they're going to fall towards the aggressive activities, whether it's a religion, a political practice, or just a relationship with another person. They're going to be attracted to power. People are attracted to strength. And if you don't project strength and show the path to victory, people aren't going to be very interested for very long. And that's certainly where we find ourselves now. And rather than be concerned about it and worried that they're going to build more mosques in Texas, understand why that movement's appealing to people and why people are joining those causes. What makes someone a young person throw away their lives to become a car bomber? What in their right mind would pull them into that direction? And why would nice young women flee their nice families, to become a member of ISIS, to become a just one wife in a harem of domestic and foreign terrorists? What's in it for them, or what's in it for the perpetual woman that marries an alcoholic that continues to abuse her and treat her terribly? And a lot of women go through that kind of thing. But why do they stay in the marriage? What's the mechanism? What's the power of the occurrence? And I can tell you, it's a lot of cases. They're drawn to the manipulation of the power of the person to dominate their lives, and that's an attractive attribute. Even if it's dysfunctional, it's still psychologically satisfying. And so when you have these aggressive groups that are out there establishing a campaign of victory, even if it's aggressive and evil and bad in a lot of ways, where you're causing a lot of destruction to people, there's going to be a fair number of people who are disenfranchised and feel weak and looking for a win in their life, and they are attracted to the party that shows the most aggression. So if you're out there shaking hands and just kissing babies and bringing peace to the world, you're probably not going to appeal to many people. I know there's a lot of people out there say, well, that's the way of Christ, and that's the way of, you're supposed to forgive and do all these things. Well, you also have to market your ideology. And if Jesus is in the temple turning over the vendor tables for desecrating the temple, I think people get excited about that. If he's yelling at the fig tree, people get excited about that. If he's healing the sick and defying the Jewish institutions, people like that. But if you're just out there making peace and preaching Sermon on the Mount and talking an ideology that is filled with love, it's not going to be very attractive very long once people are looking for something strong to fill their lives. And so that's the problem where we're at. And in Islam, they're very aggressive. They're very, even though it might be a simplified version of worship, we make it very simple. Worship Allah. All gods fall under the umbrella of Allah, and we'll call it a day. And we won't have too many debates. As long as we'll all be at peace, as long as you do what we say. And that's an appealing message to people who don't feel like there's a lot of victors in their life. They're looking for the party or the religion that's going to give them victory. And so if you don't go out there as a Christian soldier and promote your side of the story in a declarative way, or if you're not a political party that's going to go out there and give your supporters wins, don't be surprised when they leave you and don't want to be a part of what you're doing. Ultimately, people want victory. And if you're trying to build a coalition of people to follow something, you have to show them the path to winning. Peace isn't enough. And you have to define it for them in a way that makes them feel like they're being a part of something that will take them to a win. It's not enough to just be a part of something. You have to define wins. And that's why Trump's support's eroding, because he hasn't given people wins. They haven't seen the results of all the good policies that have been happening in the background. The economic trends are going to certainly be better with passing the big beautiful bill. A lot of those costs haven't even hit the marketplace in ways that reach people's pockets. So you have to define wins in other ways, and blowing up drug smugglers isn't enough. People need to see that there's a path to winning the midterms, and they have to feel confident in it. Right now, it's all fearful. It's the same kind of fear that we talk about when we talk about Islam building mosques in Texas. Texas is a red state, Christian country, and to have an increase in the Muslim population there it's a defeat, and people don't like to feel defeated. And there are going to be a fair number of people who will join Islam just to be on the winning side, because they're the ones projecting victory, while everybody else is trying to be conciliatory and inclusive and coexisting. It's not what people want. People don't want to coexist. They want to win. And you have to define wins for them in order to keep their support. It's that simple. Anyway, Trish Hoffman here. Share, subscribe. Make tomorrow a better day. If you haven't read my book, The Gunfighter's Guide to Business, I think you'll love it. Anyway, have a good day. See you later.